Well, as we like to say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where I have the pleasure of speaking with you today. My name is Scott Clausen with PPM Works, and today I'm going to be talking about Let It Flow, bringing automation to your projects with using Microsoft Flow. So as mentioned, I am with PPM Works, our Director of Delivery and Technology. My role is primarily hands-on with customers, helping new customers get onto Project Online, migrate from Project Server, upgrade to Project Server, extend Project Server to connect to different apps, similar to what we'll be talking about today, also with reporting and analytics. So we are primarily working in the project space along with the supporting technologies of SharePoint, Office 365, and Power BI. And as a reminder, we are a registered education provider with PMI. So if you're interested in getting PDUs for this session, you can email us at info@ppmworks.com with your PMI number and reference this presentation. So what are some of the objectives of today? Well, we'd like you to walk away with a better understanding of Microsoft Flow and how to use it with Project Online, some of the events and actions that are available. This will be the next wave of opportunities with leveraging Flow to automate your repetitive actions and project steps, how, when, and why you would use Flow in Project Online. And let's get right into that. Why Flow? So using Flow across your organization will help you in a couple different areas. Number one, save time. We all like to save time. A lot of times we do manual tasks just to get them done. Well, Flow will start you to think about automating, creating automated workflows with Microsoft Flow by turning those repetitive tasks into multi-step workflows. Secure. One nice thing about everything within Flow is it works both inside and outside the Microsoft cloud. Really allows you to move data around, move approvals across the organization, keeping that information secure as opposed to trying to build your own connectors. Conditional, so we have the ability to really set unique conditions that match your requirements, and I'll show you some of that today. And then lastly, it's fun. All these apps are fun. They're new, they're exciting. We've moved to the cloud. What's the next step now that we're in the cloud and we want to start connecting all this information? So some information about Flow and the goal of Flow. Work less, do more. So Microsoft Flow helps you work smarter by automating workflow across your apps. Of course, those apps start in Office 365, but the vision you should walk away with here is this can be all, both your on-premise and cloud-hosted apps, Twitter, Salesforce, etc. You can automate advanced scenarios with multiple steps, branching conditions, and more. You can do things like drive notifications, collect data, automate approvals, synchronize files. And the focus of today is going to really be on Project Online. I'll show you there's lots of different flows out there, ways to connect different apps besides Project Online. But even just within Project Online, there's a dozen of already available flows you could get started with today, or you could build your own, as I'm going to explain. So let's talk about this Flow application platform. So it's modern, and with modern, it means you can develop these integrations fast. You can develop these integrations as a power user. Don't need to have a computer science background, coding background. Everything is visual and easy to create. However, if you wanted to extend what's available, kind of out of the box, if you will, there are ways you can further leverage the platform as a developer or development team, develop more within Azure. And as I mentioned already, it's a nice secure way to move data across your enterprise from common data sources and available connectors and gateways without having to recode or create those. So for those of you who may be completely new to Project Online, before I get in and talk about Flow and Project, let's point out a few benefits of Project Online. Maybe you're on Project Server on-premise today? Well, Project Online is going to give you Microsoft's cloud and all the power behind that cloud, so that will provide performance improvements. Microsoft really is focused on new features and delivering those through the cloud first. So there's going to be portfolio management dashboards, there's a new resource engagement feature, multiple timelines, capacity planning with visual heat maps, managing projects over the web, some new features that have just recently come out or are coming soon, agile project management. If you're wondering what that is, you didn't know it could happen in Microsoft Project, it can. We have other webcasts for that, but it's only available through the Microsoft Project for Office 365. Of course, there's other apps in Office 365 like Planner you can integrate with, Power BI for reporting. Moving to Project Online will help you consolidate your infrastructure. You'll save on your physical server costs, eliminate the need for internal IT support to do those upgrades and cumulative updates. The environment is evergreen, so you always have the latest. You can subscribe to as frequently as monthly updates. As soon as Microsoft hears a need, they create a feature that's available to you on a monthly basis instead of waiting the traditional 3 years. And of course, all your license are managed through the cloud. They can be on monthly intervals. You can turn them on, off, depending on who needs the application. And last, adoption and scalability. You didn't have to consider exactly how many database servers you need, application servers. If you need to scale up, there are no size restrictions for your organization. So those are all great features of Project Online. Okay, so enough talking. I'm going to transition over now and talk about Microsoft Flow. So here I am within Office 365, www.office.com. And as you may see in your organization or seen in demos, you can pull down the app launcher here and see the various apps you have. Some of these, hopefully you're familiar with. Others you may be wondering, such as Flow, how it works, what it's all about. Of course, here on the office.com page, at the bottom here, you'll see a little description of all the different apps that are available to you. You can find this alphabetical list. You can find Flow and click this Learn More. That will open you to a page here with inside Microsoft Learning, and this is the Microsoft Flow Guided Learning. So this is a great resource for more than just today's presentation. There's some getting started articles and videos, really step-by-step action for you to create your first flow. I'm going to be showing that, but this is a great area to find information on learning more. So after you've read and learned about Flow, you want to get started. We'll go ahead and click Flow. Oops, that was Forms. There we go. I have Flow open here. Now, this page will look a little different if you haven't created any flows yet. I have one sample one here under My Flows. But before we get started with creating, let's kind of talk about navigating around Flow. So there are several options for you up here. You can see here's where Flow approvals would appear. I'm going to click Templates first. And this is a great area if you're first getting started with Flow to kind of look. And because the topic today is Project Online, inside Templates, I'm going to search for Project Online. As soon as I search for that, I actually see there are 9 pre-existing flows that have already been created. Some of these are by Microsoft, some other users. These users and Microsoft have created helpful flows for different business use cases. Let's look through some of these. First one here is if you'd like to receive an email when a new project is created in Project Server Online. Secondly, we have one here when a task is created in Project, create a task in Wunderlist. So if you're a Wunderlist user, that could be helpful. How about receive an email when a new task is created in Project Online? Here's one with Dynamics. So Dynamics 365, opportunity win to create a new project. So if you're using Dynamics 365, there's a new opportunity when you'd like to create a project from that. Create a to-do list project when Project Online projects are created. Add list item when you create a project. Post to Yammer when a project is created. create a project online task for new SharePoint items, and lastly, we have create a folder in Instapaper for new projects. So this, just by kind of reviewing the 9 templates available, kind of gives you a sense of how Flow works. It's connecting apps, right? We have all these powerful apps here in 365, and we a lot of times need to move data and so forth across those, and this is where you can get that done. What are some of the different apps just in these templates you can integrate with? Outlook, Wunderlist, Dynamics 365, to-do list, and even down here, Instapaper. So you got really good sense of how these things can be connected. So, maybe the case is one of these templated flows is exactly what you need. In that case, you would click it and really just turn it on. It's just really probably less than 30 seconds to sign in and turn it on. It's ready to go. Or you can create your own, as we'll be covering now, from scratch. So to do one on your own, you're going to go over to My Flows. And before I actually create one, let's talk about a sample use case. So I'm going to actually open a Microsoft project plan here for software development. And this is a pretty basic, in fact, template you'll find inside Microsoft Project. I have a number of tasks here. And the business need of my organization is to integrate with another Office 365 app, which is called Planner. Now, some of you may know there's a built-in integration to Planner, a link to. Interestingly, what this will do is if you take a particular task, like your first one here, determine project scope, and you click this link to Planner, it will explain that you're able to link to an existing Planner project, and that Planner project is going to represent this whole task here, determine project scope. Now, that might be a good use case, but ours is going to be a little more targeted. Instead of having a whole Planner plan for one task, we just want these tasks to simply appear in an existing Planner plan. So basically, copy the tasks over to the plan. But maybe we don't want all of them to appear. We need some rules here. So let's say, for example, when I go under this area here, conduct needs analysis, and I'm going to insert some rows for new tasks. And it's going to be interview interview stakeholders for needs, document needs analysis, and then I'll have present. All right, so there's my 3 tasks that are going to occur right here under conduct needs analysis. And let's say that I know that the team that's going to be conducting this needs analysis uses Planner a lot, and I want to push these tasks over to them in Planner, at least the first 2 here. So let's go now over to Flow and develop a new flow here. At the top, there's this link here to, of course, the templates are one example we already looked at, but we're going to create from blank. Very good. So here, when we're looking at our new flow that we've created, there's a button here at the bottom to search different connectors and triggers. And this is another area where you can kind of learn about different products you're working with. So the first thing I want to search for is Project Online. All right. Now, after I've searched Project Online, I actually see that there's 2 categories of connectors. There's one called triggers. And triggers always, at least in this context, start with a when. So a trigger could be something like when a new project is created, when a new resource is created, when a task is created, or when a project is published. So these are the 4 basically out-of-the-box connectors. And without getting into development, these are the ones that will be available for you today. And in time, Microsoft wants feedback here with user voice. You can give feedback to give other triggers that might be helpful, but these are the 4 that are available today. So these will really start our flow, if you will. So the capability exists today is to start your flow with one of these things when a project is created, when a resource is created, when a task is created, or when a project is published. Now, after one of those triggers occurs, you can then take different actions. And if you're interested in learning about the actions for Project Online, there are 7 of them. So using Flow, we can do one of 7 things with Project Online. We can check in and publish a project, check out a project, create a new resource, create a new project, create a new task. We can essentially get a list of projects or get a list of tasks. So those are the 7 actions. You can see, today this is somewhat limited. We have 4 triggers, 7 actions, but you'd come back here to look for more if you were ever interested in what's available for Project Online. Now, if you eventually search through this templates, you'll come to this Project Online preview page. This is essentially in Microsoft Docs. So these 7 actions, and then 4 triggers are documented on this single page here for Project Online inside the connector reference. This will give you information. You can learn a little more about exactly what those actions and triggers do and the different parameters that go into them. This is a fairly long page here, okay? All right, so now we kind of know what we want to do. Now, in our case, we're going to start our flow based on when a new task is created. So I'll click that here. And here in our flow design, I haven't quite given my flow a name yet, so I'll just call this sample new flow for creating planner task from project task. There we go. All right, so it's going to ask you to identify your root site URL. So that will be something like HTTPS, your tenant name, and something like sites PWA, or in this case, I'm going to use PWA demo. So I'll put that in. And for this particular task, or I should say trigger, we can pull down the menu here, look at settings. There's some really more advanced settings in terms of the retry policy and split on. And that's it. So really, this trigger basically more or less just has you enter the URL to your environment. And anytime in this environment a new task is created, it's going to trigger this flow. All right, that's good. So let's do a new step now. And you might be thinking, okay, our new step is that we'd like to create a task in Planner. However, before we get to that, which is an action, we're going to put a condition in here. And the condition is that maybe we don't want all of our tasks to appear in Planner. We only want some of them. How are we going to choose those? Well, I'm going to click here in my condition. Wait for this to load just a moment. All right, there we go. So my condition is going to be to look at the task name. Okay. And if that task name contains something like this in brackets, I'm actually using the brackets to find it, planner. So if it has in square brackets planner, then I'm going to take an action. So basically what I've done is set it up so that every time a new task is created, it's going to check if it has square brackets planner in the name. If so, it's going to move on to this if yes. And when I get here, I'm going to add an action. Now, where's my action? Is it in Outlook? Is it in OneDrive? Is it Twitter? Is it something with SharePoint? Well, in this case, it's in Planner. So we're going to type Planner. All right, there's planner. And just like we had triggers and actions for Project Online, we have those for planner. You can get the idea of the just really ease of creating this. So I'm going to go now to actions, because we're not looking for another trigger at this point. We're looking for an action. And the action we want to do is to create a task. So just realizing now I kind of jumped into this. If you have questions, go ahead and log them in the chat. And we'll go ahead and get through all this and then answer your questions. So thank you for those. All right, so I'm going to create a new task in Planner. Now, one thing you're going to do, this is built into the parameters for creating a task in Planner, is to choose a plan. So I have a plan already set up called Demo Project Online Task for Planner. Okay. Now, what do I want my title of my task to be? We can just go ahead and use the same task name there. Now, I experimented earlier with creating these planner tasks with a particular start date and due date, and it wasn't working. I think there's some more advanced steps there to make sure the date is formatted like it's expecting here. So we won't do that. We'll just actually create the task, plain and simple. All right, so I'm done now. And at this point, I can create my flow. I actually have one created already that I've tested, so it looks the same as this. So I'll go ahead and close here and open that one up so you can see it. And I'll edit it. All right, so basically the same as we just saw. All right, so that flow is ready. You can tell up here at the top that it's already on and active. If you needed to edit it or assign other people to edit this flow, you can do that. Key thing is having it on. And with that, we're ready to create our new task. So we'll go back to our project plan. And now I created these 3 new tasks. Interview stakeholders, that should be one word. For needs, document needs analysis, and then present needs analysis. So let's say these first 2 we want to appear in Planner. So we're just going to put in brackets here, Planner and Planner. If you remember in our condition and flow, it's looking for that term in square brackets. So we put that in. Okay, I'm ready. So I'm just going to go now and publish this project. All right, down here it shows me that it's saving and publishing the project. There it goes. We're waiting for it to finish. All right, while that's finishing, let me show you my planner plan, which I haven't brought up yet. So here it is. This is a planner plan called Project Online Tasks. It's empty right now. No tasks yet, so we're going to see those populate. First, I'm going to go back to flow now. Now, if you click into your flow once it's created, there's this great history here, and it'll actually show you, in this case, every time a task is created and it runs. So you can see really 11 seconds ago it processed some of these new tasks. Remember, we created 3, so all 3 of those were successful. If you actually go back in history, let me go to see all here. You can see when I first started developing this, way back when, a lot of tasks were, of course, processed here. I'll find some. There we go, some that failed. So if you have one that fails, back in your history, you can actually view this flow. Really pretty helpful. It'll tell you where you had maybe some issue with one of your conditions or in one of your requests to take action, something didn't work, okay? But the good news for us is that we saw, as of now a minute ago, all 3 of those processed. So The magic now, we come back to our planner plan and look at that. Our two tasks that we created in our project plan were automatically created here in Planner as tasks. So for this team to do their needs analysis, interview stakeholders, they can go ahead and assign and complete those tasks here in Planner. So some of the questions you might be wanting to know, well, can I assign this to someone? I wish you could. It's not quite available yet. If we go back into edit our flow and look at when we created that planner tasks, of course, we picked the plan where it goes. We put the title in, actually replaced the word planner in here so that it had a clean title. We put this under the to-do bucket, but assigned to user, I didn't find, at least default, any of the available project attributes. Even if you do see more here, there was nothing with assigned resource or anything like that for me to put in the user. So that's not available, unfortunately. The dates, you'd have to get to this format for them to appear. And then probably the big question is, well, gosh, after it's created here, is there a way to bring it back to Microsoft Project? And there isn't, unfortunately, right out of the box. When we looked at adding a new action, and we type project online, what are the actions we can take in project? There's nothing here to, other than there's create a new task, but there isn't any update existing tasks. So that's not something available with these standard actions. Now, there are ways you could get creative with development and do something like that, but at least the standard, it's not available. Very good. So just to kind of recap what we did here, we developed a need to integrate Project Online with Planner, and that was based on the need to have certain tasks from our project plan appear in Planner. So then we went to Flow. We developed a condition that looks at the task name to make sure it contains the word Planner. If yes, we developed an action, in this case within Planner, to create a new task. By the way, the no, you didn't need anything here because basically if it didn't contain Planner, that's it. We don't care about the no. We also saw how once you enable a flow, it appears here in your list. It's on. You can click in that flow. You can look at the history. And in fact, there's also analytics here. Give this a moment to load here. Now, I just created this today, so we're not going to have a lot of analytics behind this, but in time, you'll have more and more data here powering your analytics of how many times this was run. So it's been run 17 times today. Eventually, these will load in terms of what day they were run, which should all be today. So that's where you go to get analytics. Yeah, I just think it hasn't even been a full day, so a lot of this is just empty. Great, well, let's go back now to kind of review what we talked about. So benefits of leveraging Flow across your organization. You want to create automated workflows with Microsoft Flow, turn the repetitive tasks into these multi-step workflows. You just save time if you, a lot of times in this case, would go to Planner and create tasks. That's now done for you. That's all secure connectivity between Project Online and Flow. And then make decisions in your workflow. In our case, we put a condition in for that. So questions, as I mentioned, go ahead and put them in the chat window, and we will get to them now. And right before we do that, let me just remind you how to contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Our address, phone number. Reach out to us if you need PDUs, info@ppmworks.com. And with that, I will wish you well and, of course, answer any questions that you have available now and entered through the chat.